Hello everyone, the Eclectic Handyman here, and today we're working on the 2001 Mustang Cobra, and we're going to be doing an alternator replacement. It's about the easiest thing you can do on this car because of the way the design of the engine is and the accessories. It's right on top. It's easy to do. We don't need to raise up the car or anything. I had already done the test, and the alternator came back bad. The battery has not been charging. So we have a replacement. And the long and the short of it is that we need to take off the serpentine belt. We'll loosen the adjuster down here so that we can get the belt off. We need to loosen the two mounting bolts that are underneath. We have to loosen or remove the 4 screws up top to get that bracket. We'll get those 2 electrical connections out, and then the installation will be reverse of removal. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so what we need to do is get down in here into this tensioner and use a 3/8 inch ratchet or breaker bar. A good idea with the serpentine belt as well is to go ahead and take a picture, a quick video, or draw the diagram of the routing of it so that when you go to put it back, you know exactly which way to route it with the different accessories, where you're working. If you're just doing the alternator, you might be able to slip off the top and put it back on. But if you're replacing the belt, like good measure, or you just want to replace it, you'll have to reroute the whole thing. So having a diagram is handy to go ahead and have ahead of time. So I'm just using a ratchet, and I'll go ahead and loosen it, and then I'll come up here and let me get a better handle on it. I can pull. If you come up top here, I can pull the serpentine belt right off its track. And then I'll just be careful. Don't let that snap back. Nice and easy. And there you go. First step done. All right, to remove the alternator, we're going to go ahead and remove this harness. This one as well has it has a boot on it. If I remove the boot, there's the nut. We'll take that off. We've got 4 10mm bolts on top, and we'll start by removing the bracket bolts on the bottom. There's one there, and then there's the other one on that side. They're all 10mm bolts. Also, over here, don't forget to take the negative battery cable off before you start any of this work. All right, so let's go ahead and take off the electrical connections. And because this one had a boot on it, it's probably the least corroded bolt of the whole set. We'll get in behind here, the screwdriver, and pry this harness out and get it out of the way. Put that all to the side. All right, continue with the mounting bolt at the bottom. And I just go ahead and see, there we go. Spin that one off by hand. There's probably not an easier job on the car than the removal of the alternator on this 01 Cobra, because it's the topmost component. And all right, the other bolt I don't want to say is tricky to get to on the other side down here, but I cannot use the extension because of that radiator hose, so I just have a little bit of a less clearance. All right, on the last bolt, I'm supporting it. You can see my hand down here supporting the bottom as I turn this last bolt. And that's it. Now we're able to remove the alternator. All right, on this '01 Cobra, in order to remove the alternator, I had to hand bend this bracket up so that there will be clearance to move this alternator out. All right, and because that tab's bent, I can take it out. There we go. Okay, I'm about to put in the new alternator. I've gone ahead and started these bolts, the mounting bolts at the bottom, because the alternator can rest on it. In fact, I didn't even really have to take them all the way out if I didn't want to. So let's go ahead and put the new alternator right on top of this. All right, I have this beautiful Tuff Stuff alternator, powder coated black. Drop it back down into the hole, right on top of those two brackets. Have to wiggle it in, and we'll bend this tab down, and installation will be the reverse of removal. We'll put our bolts back in, we'll put our harness on, we'll put the belt back on, and then we'll put the negative battery cable back on. So I got the alternator bracket back on, and I've only hand tightened these bolts right now, as well as the two bottom mounting bolts. So they're all loose so that I could maneuver the alternator into place quite easily. Again, I just used my hand to bend that tab back down parallel with this right here. And now I'm going to go ahead and tighten these bolts, and then we'll put our harness back in as well. We'll add this one here, and we'll put this one on here after I take that new bolt off and put that on together as well. Put the new 10mm nut on the harness. We'll tighten that down. And just a little hand tight, no need to go crazy with that. Slide the boot. Back into place. There we go. Probably clean that up a little bit. Nice on there. Gently snap the harness into place. The bolts, the 4 on top and the 2 on the bottom per spec, don't have a torque amount, so just get them nice and hand tight. Do them evenly. And now it's time to put the bolt back on, the belt, excuse me. We will pull this tensioner back with our 3/8 inch breaker bar. Use the diagram that we had used previously that we had written down to make sure that we route it the correct way. I find the easiest way to get the belt back on is to place the tensioner on this side. Otherwise, you'll get blocked by the radiator hose in here. There's not enough room to move the tensioner, and to slide the belt right on here, because you'll be able to move the tensioner all the way over to here. And the last piece of the belt to slide on is that part right there. And we'll get it routed correctly and on our new alternator. All right, the final step is to put the negative battery cable back on. Our belt is in place, bolts are tightened down, and that's it for the alternator replacement on this 2001 Mustang Cobra. If you liked this video or found it helpful, please subscribe to my channel, The Eclectic Handyman, and we'll see you next time.